A story of temptation. The decisions we make when temptation reveals her lure, hoping we can escape her demise from just a moment of pleasure. But some can never break free from the grasp of the temptress hand, and when they fall short and their lives come apart, they wonder why, but seem to never understand. There are many faces to temptation. If you get caught up, you won't realize, because if temptation is strong enough, it will blind the vision of your eyes. Greed, gambling, alcohol, money, no form of temptation can you trust. Let's see what happened to this guy named Marcus as he encountered the temptation of lust. Part 1, her name is Temptation. She glided into the room with a hypnotizing sway, scoping every inch of it, hoping to seek out her next prey. Across the room he stood, trying not to get caught in her glare, but this woman, her aura is so strong he can't help but stare. Her eyes meet his and she displays a sensually seductive smile. She then sways through the crowd in his direction, and all the while he feels her approach. As he begins to sweat, he seems to then realize she is spiritually inside of him with just a look of her eyes. His mind begins to race as he wonders just what this woman thinks, and his heart begins to beat faster. An unsteady hand can no longer hold his drink. Can he resist, she wonders, as she never loses contact with his eyes and he falls deeper into her lure. The harder not he tries. She begins to draw near as her walk sways to musical sounds, and although the room is crowded, she steps and glides as if no one else is around. His heart, it pounds so loud it can be heard from across the room. Oh my, she thinks to herself, I have him where I wanted. This brother is doomed. She gets closer and never skips a step, yet he can hardly stand. She stops, gives him a wink of her eye, and places a note in his hand. Silently, he reads, Can you meet me outside for a second or two? I would like to spend a short moment with you. He swallows hard, pondering the thought and whether it could be true that this sexy lady was tempting him, but he wasn't sure of what to do. The scent of passion she possessed was lingering in the air as he imagined his hands running through her hair. The dress which she wore, it fit her well and clung to her body so it enhanced her curves as she walked with a sensual flow. And just as he got the nerve to go and see what this temptress had in store, his wife of 7 years came walking through the door. Looking lovely as ever, she spotted him standing there and smiled at him with eyes full of so much love and care. She walked over to his side and gave him a kiss on the cheek, but this other woman had seduced his mind so that he could hardly speak. About halfway through conversation, he noticed his wife's words he could no longer hear, as he was wondering if his fantasy was still waiting for him out there. He spots his friend Gary entering the room and turns to his wife, I will be back in a few. After speaking with his friend, he didn't let another minute pass before he slipped out the room to meet up with the mystery lady at last. He looked at her in awe as she stood in the moonlight, the silhouette of an hourglass and a body firm and tight. Hello, he spoke softly, with a slight hint of hesitation. She turned, smiled, and she spoke. Hi, my name is Temptation. I'm glad you came, she continued. I just wanted to see you for a while. Then she glided over to him with that walk and seductive smile. His heart was in his throat as she placed her hand on his chest, and she leaned up to whisper in his ear while her body on his laid at rest. I like the way you look, she whispered, and I would like to see a little more. I will be available tomorrow just for you, any time after 4. Temptation stepped back and smiled, then turned to begin to walk away. No, Marcus said softly with a tremble in his voice. Don't go. I want you to stay. She stopped for a moment. Then he reached for her arm and began to pull her near. As he stood behind her, his breath on her neck, He whispered in her ear, I like the way you look too. Just holding you makes my emotions churn. From the moment I spotted you in the room, your body was all I yearned. Temptation smiled. Stepping out of his grasp, she turned to look his way. Not tonight, she said softly. Tomorrow is when we'll play. Besides, she said as she again turned to walk, there is something you need to do. Go back and tend to your wife, who is inside waiting for you. As temptation disappeared into the night, the moonlight surrounding her grew dim, and she never even turned back to get another look at him. There he stood, unable to move, watching till he saw her no more, contemplating on what just happened. He turned and saw his wife in the door. How much did she see? He wondered. Was she standing there long? Nothing really happened, he thought. So why do I feel I did something wrong? Marcus, his wife said, is everything okay? He tried to play his feelings off by holding his wife tight, while the emotions that temptation left on him, he so hard tried to fight. By week's end, while he and his wife were home, he felt a part of him was still lost as temptation left him standing alone. What's going on, he wondered. Why are these feelings here? I do love my wife, he thought. I love her so dear, but temptation has a hold of me and I don't want to let it go. But I'm afraid I won't be able to keep it hidden and my wife will soon know. He pulled the note out of his pocket to read it once more. When he turned it over, he noticed the number 836-7864. He picked up the phone and gave the number a try. And there she was, temptation. So he nervously answered, "Hi."